So a little while ago, I made a video about the playable characters introduced for BlazBlue Central Fiction and my hype towards them. And I felt it was appropriate to do the same for BlazBlue Chronophantasma. BlazBlue Chronophantasma is my favorite BlazBlue game, so I might as well just, go for it. BlazBlue Chronophantasma first appeared in Japanese arcades on November 21st, 2012, and didn't get a North American release until March 25th, 2014. And I also want to talk about Chronophantasma Extend, since it's also touching to play this. BlazBlue Chronophantasma Extend, or 2.0 at the time, was released in Japanese arcades on October 9th, 2014, and it didn't get a console release in North America until June 30th, 2015, as the Extend version. Now, I wanted to talk about the characters that were introduced as playable for Chronophantasma, and I think that Chronophantasma has the more interesting lineup, because unlike, maybe something like Continuum Shift or Central Fiction, about half the characters that were introduced for Chronophantasma have not been in the series at all before. See, back in Continuum Shift, 8 new characters became playable from Continuum Shift 1 all the way to this Extend version. Half of the new playable characters, like Makoto Naniya, Valkenheim or Hellsing, Tsubaki Yayoi, and Hazama, had already appeared in BlazBlue Calamity Trigger in some fashion, while the other 4, like Mu 12, Lambda 11, Platinum the Trinity, and Relius Clover, are newcomers. Now, even though I find it more interesting to see the more new playable characters, in BlazBlue Chronophantasma, it's somewhat of a double-edged sword in a way, because, it's nice to see new blood, but at the same time, they don't have much to do in the story. They don't have much of the reason to be in the story, and don't have exactly much importance to them. And that is one problem with the new characters introduced in Chronophantasma and Extend. Now, some of them do get better in some of the Chronophantasma's add-on story scenarios, and they do get more screen time in Central Fiction. Not all of them, some of them. But as a base Chronophantasma, characters like Bullet, Amani, and Azrael, to an extent, are pretty aimless in regards to what they want them to do. In regards of the plot, they don't do much. So I'll still talk about them, even though they don't have much to do in the actual plot of Chronophantasma. But I still want to talk about them and all the characters that were introduced. But there's also Lambda, which I am she was introduced as playable again for BlazBlue Chronophantasma Extend. But I don't want to include her because she was already introduced as a playable character in Continuum Shift. So I can't really count her as part of this. I can only say characters that were introduced as playable for these games that were brand new, that were playable before. Just don't count. Lambda, I love, as much as I love Lambda, she does not count. I can't count her in this list. So without further ado, let's get on with the actual video. So the first character we're going to talk about today is Izayoi. Now, Izayoi is interesting. She is an upgraded form of Tsubaki, just like how Mu was to Noelle. So, it's not like a big character. I'm like, oh my god, I was clamoring for this one, or anything like that. It's just like, yeah, it's an interesting way a different way to play Tsubaki. Same character, just different look and play style. So, I can't really give my opinion much on Izayoi because, granted, I wasn't expecting an upgraded form of Tsubaki, using the Izayoi. I was never expecting it. But I guess it's a good thing, to never expect a character that's coming next sometimes, It's just I wasn't expecting, one for Tsubaki, but whatever. I can't really say much about Izayoi. I can say, actually, she has, new character themes in the form of Justice Sword. Justice Sword's pretty damn good, and she gets a versus theme to Hakumen known as Injustice. So, it's nice to see. And all she plays kind of cool. I like the way she plays. I like her Gundam references. So that's one thing I do like. I admit before to other people that I'm not the biggest fan of Tsubaki. And Izayoi only makes her slightly more tolerable to me personally because of the gameplay she does play kind of cool, and Gundam references and cool theme songs. But yeah, I just don't know what to say. Izayoi is all right. I'm glad to have her here than not. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. So I'm gonna move on to the next character. And here we have Amane Nishiki. Now, I didn't know what to think about Amane the first time I saw him. Like most people who thought, who saw him for the first time, thought he was a woman, but of course he wasn't. So Amane is a very, very underused character in BlazBlue Chronophantasma. I think even more underused than Bullet and Azrael. At least with Bullet, she had she had a clear goal in mind. With Azrael, they had him to do something, but Amane didn't do anything, really. Okay, so Amane is the leader of a traveling performance troupe made up of war orphans, and he is looking for Carl for some unknown reason, and even as of BlazBlue Central Fiction, we have no idea. And also, within a little interaction he had with Ray, she calls him Uzume, as in the Shinto gods of dancing, Ame no Uzume, and I kind of find it funny that his name is Amane, like Amane Uzume, like that kind of thing. I don't know, I like that. But anyway, he also does have some knowledge in the greater world of BlazBlue, and he even knew his racial stats as an observer / onlooker. So, there was more to Amane that met the eye that wasn't really realized until BlazBlue Chronophantasma, until, he became like a big player in it, being, Rachel's replacement as a onlooker. But even so, like, with Chronophantasma, Amane just didn't do anything at all. Like, it was just like, you're just a guy just going around doing his own thing, simple as that. But I feel like, even with him doing absolutely nothing in Chronophantasma, I felt like there was obviously more to the guy. And I feel like, obviously Mori was going to make a game after Chronophantasma, so let's see what he's going to do. And my biggest fear was, like, they weren't going to do anything with him. He was just probably going to wander around, spout cryptic bullshit, and just move around. But no, they actually did something with him in Central Fiction, and I don't want to use Central Fiction's Amane's, his portrayal there as, like, the basis for this, but at least they did something with him. I want to say, oh, what did these characters do in Chronophantasma? Nothing. But, at least they did something in Central Fiction. I'm happy about that. And even so, even after what we know what his deal was in Central Fiction, Amane is still shrouded in mystery. And that's one of the reasons why I like him so much. We don't know much about Amane, and I think that's very interesting to know that, like, oh, there's probably more than him that meets the eye. And I think that's one thing that interests me about Amane the most. You never know what's going to come up with him next. You never know what his next role is going to be, what he's going to even bother doing next. So I kind of like that. And I'd rather have Amane here than not at all. I like the guy. He's pretty funny. He's pretty interesting, and I definitely want to see more of him. That's the one thing I definitely want to see in regards to Amane. More of the character, because I definitely want to know more about him and want him to see him do more. I was kind of disappointed he didn't get into BlazBlue Alternative Dark War. I mean, I kind of wanted Amane there so I can pull for him, but whatever. That's the past. But yeah, Amane, pretty cool dude. Love the guy. Also, he has a cool character theme, Busin or Bushin. I know it's like the name means dancing god. I'm garbage at pronouncing a Japanese names, but still, I'm glad he's here. Bullet is a weird one, personally to me. Okay, so let's start with like her deal. Okay, so Bullet is a wandering mercenary with a major grudge. She travels around and is looking for answers about her old group of mercenary pals that were murdered during the Ikaruga Civil War by Azrael, and she's also looking for her captain who's still alive, as well as information from like people like Kagura Mutsuki, or information from Sector 7 through Kokonoe, that kind of stuff. Now, Bullet doesn't have much going on. I mean, at least with her, she has a direct goal. I mean, yeah, Amane had a goal of like trying to look for Carl, which we have no idea what he's up to for that, and we still don't know. But at least Bullet had a goal, even though she didn't get to do much in Chronophantasma. And with Central Fiction, her plotline gets resolved, but it just feels like there could have been way more done with Bullet. And like, BlazBlue Alternative Dark War does a hefty amount with her. But that's the problem. Alternative Dark War is a game that doesn't exist anymore, right? And it's stuff lost into the ether unless they have that stuff online. You can read stuff about that. But, I mean, I'm glad that Mori thought that he didn't do much with Bullet in both of those games, so he decided to put more of her stuff in Alternative Dark War. From what I've seen, she has a hefty amount to do. They actually give her a lot to do in the story part she appears in. But the sad thing about Bullet is that like she feels like a tag along for Tager. It's like, oh yeah, Tager is already a character who's like, his story significance starts to lessen as time goes on, and you combine that with a character that was with characters like Bullet and Azrael. Those characters seemed like they would give Tager more story relevance in a way, but they also suffer as well because they don't have much going on. And I think Bullet is probably, she's not the worst. I feel like she has a better standing than like, characters like maybe Azrael or Amane, but still, her plotline, doesn't really got much going on with it. She's looking for a captain. She finds him. The end. She's conflicting with that, but she's looking for Tager. Who she didn't know who was her captain, but it was pretty obvious. She finds Tager. They talk through it. At the end of Central Fiction, they work together again. in Sector 7, done. That's pretty much that. So, you know, at least her plotline got resolved in a way, so that's not a bad thing. You know, at least we got something out of it, you know. We don't know shit about Amane, so his plotline's still going on, and, you know, Azrael's also a character we have to talk about later, too. So, you know, Bullet, again, I don't know what to think about Bullet. I like her. Don't get me wrong. I like the character. I just wish she had more to do, something to her, you know? Like, you know, it could be something simple, but I feel like she should have been way more in the screen than she was. But I'm not expecting Bullet to be like some big, major turning point character, but I feel like she should have had way more to do in Central Fiction and Chronophantasma. I mean, that's the problem about having so many characters in the fighting game story modes. Like, there's not much for them to do, and when you got a character like Bullet who's not meant to do much, I get it, but still, I would have loved her to have to do something. But yeah, I like Bullet. Spirit Fire is a damn good song as well. I wish she had a versus theme against Tiger. That's one thing I wish she had, like a pure versus theme against him. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, moving on. Out of Bullet and Amane, I think Azrael had probably the most, I can't say story importance. I kind of like the, okay, so let me slow down a bit. I like to lump up Azrael, Bullet, and Amane as the new guys. Obviously, Kagura's here too, but I'm leaving him out because he's more story important. But like, I like to lump Azrael, Bullet, and Amane as like those three guys that just don't do anything at Chronophantasma. And Azrael's big deal is that, okay, he's a super strong dude. He's been sealed up in literally like another dimension because he's so goddamn strong. Sector 7 was like, you know what would be fun? Let's just release Azrael into the streets. Because it'll be funny. But anyway, yeah, but Azrael's released. He wants to go fight strong opponents. He doesn't really think too much out of that. Yeah. Azrael is just kind of here, you know? Like, I mean, Azrael, I personally believe Azrael doesn't really need much to him going on because he's pretty much what he is on the 10, a big, strong meat dude who's just way too damn powerful to his own good. He can rip out of dimensions with his bare hands for some reason and could just do whatever, you know? Like, I don't know. I feel like if we added more lore to Azrael, I think it would kind of ruin the mystique of the character. As I mentioned before with Amane, I feel like I would want to know more about him. But with Azrael, I feel like, yeah, whatever we would learn about Azrael, like, oh, how is he so strong? What's the deal with the Enchant Dragonov? Where did he come from? You know, that kind of shit. I feel like that would kind of ruin what made Azrael so insane. He's just some dude that came out of nowhere, wants to beat up everyone who's strong. I feel like you don't need to expand with Azrael upon that. I feel like there's nothing more to talk about in regards of Azrael. I mean, I like the guy. He's super weird. He's a weird guy. He's always talking about trying to eat people, which, you know, obviously that's his way of saying I want to fight strong opponents. But hell, I could probably believe he could have ate a person before, but whatever. But yeah, I feel like Azrael's just, he's all right. You know, I mean, I never really thought too much of when he came out. Like, when he came out, I was like, oh man, look at this guy. I wonder what his story is about. And then, you know, we don't get much of him. I mean, Azrael he's just some big, strong dude. And I don't know. Like, at one point, I want to know more about the guy. I mean, there has to be more about him, you know what I mean? Like, there has to be. And I feel like Mori will explain it someday, but if not, no big deal. But, I mean, shit, I kind of don't want more Azrael lore. I mean, I think he's okay the way he is. He's just some big, strong dude punching shit. I think that's all you need with Azrael. I mean, yeah, it would be great to know more about him, but I feel like of all the characters that would probably be ruined by more lore, I feel like it'd be Azrael. Of all the characters, I feel like it'd be ruined with more lore, it'd be Azrael. I feel like he's okay with just what he is. Like, I don't know. There's gotta be a reason why. There's gotta be something up with him. And I feel like someday Mori will explain it. Doesn't matter when, and we already know he's not gonna stay in that frozen prison for much longer in Central Fiction, because Kokonoe put him back on ice in Central Fiction. But I know for a fact that he's going to break out somehow, and he's going to be back in the streets and fight the new BlazBlue characters or whatever. You know, Azrael ain't going to stay gone for long. We already know that. He's too damn popular to stay gone for long. We already know he's going to be coming back soon. So, yeah, Azrael, okay. I never really thought too much of him. I still kind of don't, but I mean, he's here, and he's funny. You know, he's entertaining. So that's one thing that's one thing that stays relevant. With keeps Azrael relevant to me. He's entertaining. So yeah, I'd rather have you be entertained than bore me. So you know, he never bores me. So yeah. All right, so we can finally talk about someone who's like majorly important to the plot of BlazBlue Chronophantasma, and that's Kagura Mutsuki. Now, Kagura Mutsuki is an unlockable character in BlazBlue Chronophantasma after you beat the story mode, and he's also offered as DLC for people who don't want to do that at a reduced price. So, Kagura Mutsuki, he's the only unlockable character in BlazBlue Chronophantasma, but still, he's here. He plays a big part. He's the one who makes this big-ass plan in order to usurp Izanami's position as the Imperator to put Homura Amano Hokasaka back in the throne. And, Kagura's a pretty cool dude, honestly. I like the guy. He's pretty cool. He's pretty chill. Again, when I was looking at him, showing up, I was like, oh man, I wonder who this guy is about. I always thought that he was going to maybe be the next protagonist. And they do make a joke about that in BlazBlue. I think one of the gag reels where they're on a beach and like Kagura makes a joke about him being the protagonist, being a new protagonist, and like Celica being the new heroine. I just find that really funny. And despite Kagura being like this, womanizer and a bit of a sleaze, he does greatly care for people, and I really like that about Kagura. Like he has his moments, but he's generally an overall nice, great guy, and he's really doing the best he can with the power that he has, and he's trying to do the best he can. And I like that about Kagura. Again, like Kagura is like a character I would never play as in my life. I don't do stance characters. But Kagura has a cool design. He has a very cool theme in the form of black aggression. He's super funny, and he's very. Speaking of funny, like Kagura is like he goes around scanning female characters for their measurements and shit, and flirts with them. And like I like how he scans Amane at one point. And is like, oh. It's just that realization. I was like, oh wait a minute. And I find that really funny, like it's like, and I think it's like for nearly every female character in the game. And there's some characters he just directly won't like straight up like flirt with, like Rachel or Kokonoe. Like he knows how, like, especially with Rachel. I like that whole thing. Like he doesn't like, wouldn't flirt with Rachel because he knows her status and everything. And she's actually super chill with him. I like that. It's small, but I kind of like that. But yeah, Kagura is a pretty cool dude. He's not exactly my favorite BlazBlue character. I don't hate him in the least. I'm just saying he's like not a character I really, would say, oh my god, he's my favorite, blah, blah, blah. No, like that. But like, I like the guy, and I'm glad he's here, and I'm glad they're spending more on him as time goes on. Kagura in the end is a great guy, even if he's a sleaze and a womanizer. But yeah, he's a pretty cool dude. I like the guy, and I'm glad he's here. And with that, we have passed every single character that wasn't DLC. Well, excluding Kagura, but Kagura was unlockable. Anyway, we went past all the base roster characters of BlazBlue Chronophantasma, and now we're going on to the DLC section. And the first DLC character I got to start with is Yuuki Terumi. Now, Yuuki Terumi was a long time coming. Let's be real about that. Ever since Continuum Shift, we obviously know that, well, ever since even Calamity Trigger, my bad, we know that Yuuki Terumi was always inside Hazama. He was one of the 6 heroes. He was a pretty bad dude. And it's pretty cool that in Chronophantasma, he became a playable character on his own. He has his own design. He has his own character theme, which, let me talk about that first. So in base Chronophantasma, when Terumi was released as DLC, he had Endless Despair 2. Endless Despair 2 is the theme for Unlimited Hazama and BlazBlue Chronophantasma. And in the song, when you hear the song, it definitely does fit Terumi, like, to a certain extent. But, a lot of people didn't feel right about it. It's like, well, yeah, but why Terumi can't get his own theme, that kind of thing. And then he got Silent Screaming BlazBlue Chronophantasma Extend. And at least he got his own character theme. I kind of would have been bummed out if he was stuck with Endless Despair 2. That would have sucked, but whatever. But anyway, yeah, Terumi was just a long time coming, and I'm glad he's playable as his own character. I'm really happy that he's playable as his own character. Obviously, we see him in the story mode. We see him in the story mode moving around, doing his own thing. We don't see him in his own form until I think like near the end of the game, because obviously he's still in Hazama this whole time, and he's not really shown out by himself until like Trinity confronts him and splits, along with Hakuben, splits him from Hazama. So we don't see much of Terumi until then, like straight up regular Terumi, not Hazama as well. But yeah, it's nice to see Terumi as a playable character. It's like, he's not a character I was thinking like, man, he should definitely be on his own, but like, I just feel like they were just going to keep him like, you know, Hosmer the entire time, and just like maybe have a separate place in the roster where they just like have Hosmer with his hair spiked up to symbolize Terumi. But no, they made him a whole ass character with his own moveset and gave him his own character theme and different voice lines, all that jazz. And I really like that. You know, Terumi definitely needed to be a DLC character. Well, not a DLC character. I would have loved him in the base roster, but I mean, I'm glad he's here at all, you know, and obviously in Central Faction, he's a main playable character because that's after Chronophantasma. So, yeah, Terumi's here. Glad to see the guy here. I don't know. I think like back when the DLC was being announced for BlazBlue Chronophantasma, I never actually bought the DLC for Chronophantasma. I waited till Extend came out because I knew for a fact they were going to release an Extend version. So let's just be real on that. So yeah, I'm glad he's here. I knew people who did buy him though. I knew people who did buy him at the time, and you know that was back then when I didn't know many BlazBlue fans. So you know, there's that. But anyway, yeah, Terumi, his own character. Happy to see him. Crazy bastard. Love the guy. Doug Erholtz does an amazing job as him. Yeah. And now we're on the final DLC character of BlazBlue Chronophantasma, and that is Kokonoe. Kokonoe, it was also a character that people really wanted for a while now, ever since BlazBlue Continuum Shift. They even have like a little portrait for her in BlazBlue Continuum Shift, like how every other characters. And it seemed to be implied that she was going to be playable during that time, but was never playable for whatever reason. And I remember during those days where a lot of people were just wanting Kokonoe. It made sense. Kokonoe was always been a big character, and you know, people have been wanting to know what her deal was. So, you know, her becoming playable was a long time coming. So, when she was playable in BlazBlue Chronophantasma, she became one of the most broken characters in all of fighting games. And I think that's very hilarious. She got so broken that people call her Brokonoe. And those days were hilarious. Those days hilarious where Kokonoe was just the worst character in the goddamn roster, where she was just mixing up characters and juggling them. And it's like, ugh, painful. And then they had to nerf her to the hell. But yeah, Kokonoe has been a long time coming, and I'm definitely, I think out of all the characters that I've talked about so far, I think she was the one I personally want most on here. Because with Terumi, yeah, I wanted him here, but like, I feel like that was, you know, going to happen anyway. But Kokonoe, I feel like her options were in the air. It's like, oh yeah, she could be playable, she couldn't be playable. God only knows if she is going to be playable, and she made a real big debut. Let's just say that. But yeah, Kokonoe is here. Glad she's here. We finally get to see her more in action. She has a really wacky moveset. I love it. You know, her moveset involves a lot of creations of hers. I mean, hell, even her Astral Heat just like straight up says, F the creations, I'm just going to drop a goddamn meteor on you, which I just, like, bit over the top is what I wanted. Like, her moveset's perfect. I don't play as Kokonoe worth a damn because I don't do full quarter circle movements. F that. Hell no. But Kokonoe's moveset and mannerisms during combat is what I wanted her to be like. Like, when you see Kokonoe, it's like, yeah, she's definitely over the top, but if she was playable, you definitely see more of that through her. Kokonoe is a very over the top individual, and like through her moveset and her gameplay, you could definitely see that shine through more, and I love it. I love it, and that's all I wanted her to be, just like this goofball, just insane, just doing shit I would have never expected. Again, she drops a meteor on you, so to hell with that. She's insane, and I love her. And plus, you know, she also gets 2 new good character themes. Well, I guess I can't count Sector 7 as her character themes, like the first was themed between her and other members of Sector 7, but she gets science fiction. And I think science fiction is probably one of the more interesting BlazBlue themes, because it's not like anything like super pumped up and hype. It's more like, you know, calm, quiet, analytical, like Kokonoe. At times, but you definitely hear the points where the music ramps up. You definitely feel like, yeah, Kokonoe's getting serious. She's ready to go, and all that shit. Like, you know, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm definitely glad to see Kokonoe here. Again, she made a huge, crazy debut, and I love it. But yeah, Kokonoe, glad she's here, and I wouldn't, you know, trade her for anything in the world. And last but not least, we can talk about Celica A. Mercury, who was the only brand new character that was released for BlazBlue Chronophantasma Extend. As I mentioned before, Lando was playable in Continuum Shift, so she doesn't count for this list. Anyway, Celica is a weird one. She is a major character in BlazBlue Chronophantasma, and she's one of the titular Chronophantasma. And you think that, okay, there's no way she could ever be playable. She can't fight. She has no way of fighting. She's just a regular girl with healing powers and, you know, Celica shutdown abilities. But I think that's pretty much that. You can't really make a character out of that, you know what I mean? So much to my shock, she becomes playable in Chronophantasma 2.0 and with Ex Machina Minerva alongside her to do the hits and take the punches for her. And take the, yeah, so like, that's weird, but like, you know, honestly, it's not like they were setting that kind of thing up where she was going to be playable. Like, they gave her Minerva in the story mode, and, you know, base Chronophantasma Minerva was just a color swap of Nirvana, which was really dumb. God, I just remember that. It's so bad. But anyway, yeah, you see that as like, okay, yeah, she obviously would, you know, she knew Nirvana back in the day, and giving her own Nirvana, it's like, yeah, she would protect her because, you know, Celica can't do anything, and not everybody can protect Celica 24/7, so fair enough. So it's just like a weird thing. It's like when my freaking mind kind of just stopped like turning its gears the moment I saw her get announced for Chronophantasma 2.0. I was like, Celica? What the hell? How is she gonna fight? It's like Nirvana is like fighting for her. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like, she's not a puppet character. Like, she has the idea of a puppet character, but it's not a puppet character because Minerva is like acting with her. And I really like that. I think that's super interesting. Like, you gave her the concept of a puppet character, but not make her one. And she's also one of the more beginner-friendly characters in the roster. And I kind of find it hilarious. But she has healing abilities. And not like Ragna's healing abilities. I mean, like, actual healing abilities. She can heal her HP and shit. And don't get me started on Unlimited Celica. Unlimited Celica, no, dude. Insane. She's crazy. You could never kill her. But yeah, I think it was a good idea to make Celica playable. It's just a matter of how, and I think they did a good job of like having Minerva fight with her on her behalf, and I think that's pretty interesting. Plus, Celica is just like, you can see in some of her sprites, she's kind of like a goofball where she tries to kick, or like, you know, she slaps her opponents like super fast, or she just like you know, I think that's pretty interesting. Like, it shows like what she could do in regards to fighting, and, you know, and I think that's pretty cute. And she also gets a cool new character theme in the form of Crystal Forest that really shows the duality between her and Minerva, because Minerva, like, Celica has the more soft parts of the song, while Minerva, the one doing all the fighting and all the rough shit, the one getting dirty, she has the more like hyped up guitar parts, and I think that's pretty interesting. Like, that character theme alone shows those two instead of just Celica, you know what I mean? And she also gets Sector 7 as one of her versus themes to other members in Sector 7, since she's technically part of Sector 7 due to being tethered to Kokonoe. Kokonoe is obviously the one who copied her soul from the past to the future to become a Chronophantasma. So technically, Celica's a member of Sector 7. Let's just throw that out there right now. So yeah. But yeah, Celica being playable, I'm glad she's here. She's super interesting, super funny. Her moves are super funny, and she's too much of a major character to not be playable. It's just, I was never expecting it. And that's the end of the video. Honestly, this was really fun, reminiscing about characters I remember being playable in BlazBlue Chronophantasma. And I might do so for Katif. That might be my last little video of this tiny little mini-series, if I can even call it that. So yeah, without further ado, I will see you all next time. Peace out, everyone, and I hope all you guys have a great day.